WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Everything earned for a goal of elevation. Just passing the team over here, might finish that bright future, we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions. Fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Yes, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of TACT-EAGLE. Obviously, we are playing Fulham this week, and I have put the correct times up there, so it is definitely a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. And I haven't spelt it wrong, so you know what? As far as I'm concerned, it's 10 out of 10 already. So, but I mean, always, join with.
There is something that you could change. He's may or may not be playing in this game.
You know what? I didn't actually think about that when I was making the. But then I suppose if I had to pick someone who
9 out of 10.
If I had to pick someone who's actually available, then I wouldn't put anyone there. But I don't know. Are there pictures of Asha Agbenone on the internet yet? I don't know.
You think he's playing? I don't think so.
Oh no, I don't think so. But you know. But anyways, joined with JC. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I always find it hilarious the second that you hit go on the stream, how you just run off somewhere. I don't know where the hell you're going. But
so it's because I was looking at the charge on my laptop and I realised that it wasn't plugged in. And so I was like, well, if I get it done now during the intro, I've got 20 seconds to do it. I already got to plug it in like just behind the table there. So,
well, what you guys don't see is that me and Dan can see each other behind the scenes when the intro's playing. And imagine the intro plays, just see the headphones go flying off and he just sprints away. So it's quite funny. But yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good. And we both have bought our Ipswich away tickets, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to.
Yeah, I am in upper, and it looks like you're in lower.
No, I am in the upper. I sent you the wrong thing. We're in the same section, but I'm a few rows further back. Quite a few rows.
Are you getting a train or are you driving?
No, I'll definitely get the train because I'm not working that week. I've taken that week off anyway.
Because we're going to get the 5:45 train from Liverpool Street.
All right, sweet. Are you working that day?
Yes. So I'm literally going from work straight to Liverpool Street.
All right, cool. All right, sweet. Well, I'll come meet you guys wherever because I'm not working, so that's fine with me.
All right. So you can probably go to German then.
Yeah. I'll
meet me there.
Yeah, no, yeah. All right, we'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll discuss the logistics. But that means there will be a vlog, which means that we will lose. So sorry, everyone. Right. Anyways, obviously we know there's a few bits of admin before we start. Next week we obviously is the international break, so theoretically we're not playing anyone the following Saturday or weekend because we rarely get Saturday kick games anymore. But instead we will do another Q&A. So we'll put out a tweet on Twitter just to get some things on there. Obviously, if you have any, if you have any today, put them in the chat. Obviously, just put like for Q&A this question or whatever. Then we'll do that. Or if you then do it, or if you put it again in the chat in the actual video when we do it, then we'll have a look then as well. But yes, that'll be next week. Also, we have 2 tickets with our sponsor Comavi. For the Fulham game. Is it a VIP ones?
No, it's the normal tickets. But is it? I can't actually remember. I think it is normal tickets, but it's like 2 together. So we're gonna have it this time. So one person will win both tickets, so they can go themselves and bring a friend as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, there you go. And I believe all they need to do is go on to our Twitter. Retweet the tweet, it'll be on there somewhere, and just comment underneath entry, and also make sure you're following ComAvi as well. And then you could win yourselves some free seats to watch us lose against Fulham. So, and here we have our video from us for our sponsor.
Today's video is sponsored by ComAvi.
ComAvi is a global online marketplace and community platform designed for people like us, football fans.
It offers exclusive deals, events and rewards for fans of various football clubs. Users can play games, shop and engage with the community to earn points that can be redeemed for VIP tickets, signed merchandise and other unique experiences.
ComAvi has partnered with Crystal Palace and are now working with Eagle-Eyed Football to provide you, the fans, with a better fan experience.
Cool. So that's all about them.
Just confirming it is 2 standard tickets.
Okay, cool. So so 2 standard tickets for Fulham. So just find the tweet, retweet it, comment on it, entry, and make sure you're following ComAvi. And then you'll be put into the draw. Okay. Without further ado, let's talk lineups. So no, I can get mine up because I've got mine up here as well.
No, we forgot. People have requested to see the predictions league.
Oh, whoops.
We remember. We haven't forgot that the leaderboard's still going. So if you are in the Discord, you already know about this. But if you are not in the Discord, here is how last week went. It was a pretty dead week for everyone, but I think we've hit a new low with Nate. Sorry, mate. With 1 point.
Wow, I thought my score of 2 the other week was shambolic.
Well, both the brothers got 1 and 2, so
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That leaves the final standings looking like this.
Man, I'm
myself in first place. I tell you this, I'm in first place. It ain't gonna last forever though. I'm lucky to be here. Me in first place, I believe. Then it's Nikki, then Ree, then Rich, then Dan, and then Nate bringing up the rear. The whole easy. Full table. Myself and Moss are joint top, followed by Nikki, and then you guys can see the rest. Coltrane might be losing 2 years in a row. That is a man.
Where is he?
He hasn't done his original forfeit.
Where is he? Right. But less said about the predictions league at the moment for me, the better. Do you know what it is? I think I keep double guessing myself when I'm doing the predictions, and I'm I keep banging. I keep not banging on. I keep banking on home advantage too much at the moment. That's my problem. I keep just.
I'm just looking at form. That's how I do it. I say, they're playing well. They're getting a new manager, so they might play well. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm not really too much else into
it. Right. So let's move on quickly from talking about my predictions league. And we will move on to the predicted 11. And
let's hope you play the right one.
JC will take us through the injury list as well.
Are you not?
What? Am I doing it? Oh, sorry. I thought you were doing it.
No,
I thought you normally do the injuries. So that's right. I've got it here anyway. So, all right. So,
who do we... injury.
What am I missing? I was waiting for the injuries and then I was going to do it. But
Dan's having a howler. Anyway, injuries. Fulham have 1 injury, and that's Lukic. That's it. 1 injury. Moving on to Crystal Palace, talking about our injuries. França, Riyad, Eze, Lerma, and Wharton. Wharton has successfully had his surgery, so it's good that we finally got that over and done with. And his predicted return date is the end of this month, which I think is a bit too soon, but you never know.
I think they said, what was it, 4 weeks after the surgery, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. So it's probably 2 weeks to recover, 2 weeks to get fitness back again. So to be fair, he could this is what we said. I don't know about you, but this is what I said. I hope we get him. We do the surgery early enough so that we can so he can play through the Christmas period. And because of all the international breaks, the Christmas period is going to be even longer now. So Will Hughes is suspended because of 5 yellow cards and a stupid challenge at the end of the Wolves game. Joel Ward and Chris Richards are potentially back from injury. They have a 75% chance of appearing on the bench, and Rob Holding is still in the under 23s. Moving into the predicted 11, here is what I have gone with. In goal, we have Dean Henderson with Mitchell, Gay, Lacroix, Chalobah, and Munoz at the back, with Kamada and Chalobah and Doucouré in the middle, with Nketiah on the left, Mateta up top, and Ismail Sarr on the right. You may see on the right side of our bench, and that is all of our injured / players that can't play. So we've got no one on the bench. So I'm sure they'll be kitted out of a few more of the youth players, like Devaney will probably be there, Rodney will probably be there. But, what else can we do? We've got loads of injuries. And Franco Ume just picked up a hamstring for not even playing in the 23s either. So that's great. Mate, are you agreeing with this lineup or are you doing something else?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would try and keep that back three. I mean, the only thing you could possibly change, I guess, is if Doucouré is not quite fit enough to play, could possibly put Chalobah into midfield and then play Klein. But I prefer to keep that back three as it is. But it is a possibility, I guess. But other than that, I guess what else do you do? Like, I mean, Ward's just come back. And also, you just really want to play him anyway.
Yeah. Another option potentially could be dropping Nketiah, put Kamada in the 10 and put Devaney in there with Doucouré. But that's a big risk in a game like this to start a kid.
Yeah,
if it was Ozo, you might be able to get away with it. But Devaney, I don't. Obviously, we haven't seen that much of him in the first team so far yet. So I wouldn't throw him in there, but I think this is probably our safest bet with all the players that we actually have available.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that back three should stay as it is.
Moving on to Fulham, we've gone with a 4-2-3-1 formation with Leno in goal. I don't know if you can hear them fireworks, but they're going off like crazy where I am right now.
I can hear them. I thought it was someone banging on the window.
Yeah, it must be close. Oh well. I live in South London, so it is what it is. Is it fireworks? Is it not? We'll never know. Anyway, Leno in goal with Robinson, Bassi, Anderson, and Tete at the back. Anderson has come back from his straight red, unfortunately, so he's playing against us. Pereira, Sanderberg, and Smith Rowe in the middle with Nelson wide left, Iwobi wide right, and Jimenez up top. It was sort of a more difficult one to choose because they have actually got a lot of good options off the bench, like Adama Traore, Nunez, Harry Wilson doing his madness against Brentford, like literally the other day as well. So the front three literally could just be swapped out for that front three on the bench as well. And also, I put Issa Diop up there because he seems to always play well against Palace. Like, I don't know if you remember him at West Ham, but he always had a good game against us.
Yeah, so he did. He did
in there. So because maybe not to give any spoilers away, but their centre backs are very aggressive and they like cards. So,
yeah. Didn't Diop score against us once? I feel like he did.
He scored against us, and in that game, he manhandled Benteke as well. And you think, well, obviously, even Benteke was rubbish. It's still not easy to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is. Do you agree with that Fulham lineup?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And I was going to say the same thing as well. Like, you could quite easily have Traore starting, Munoz starting, Wilson starting.
Because yeah, you could either say Sessegnon for Robinson, but I think Robinson's probably one of the best left backs in the Premier League right now. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Cool.
Right. So, before I go into the attack, we will do some comments so I can try and remember which one it is. Big up, guys. Going to be a cracker of an episode. Yep, absolutely. I reckon it'll be more interesting than the game. So, buckle in. Squeeze in with us three, 2 seats, no problem. Yeah, I'm sure that's why I think like being in the same block makes it.
We've got 2 seats and the aisle as well, so there's easily 3 spaces.
Oh, really? Oh, sweet. There. Yeah, I'll come in with you guys then. And the Oscar goes too. So Dame obviously very much liked our little video. Big up, Louis. Thanks for tuning in.
Diddles.
Sorry, JC. Moss is top.
Hey, sack Rich.
Yeah, 79 and JC's got 78. Thank you very much, Palace fan, for watching one of our videos. Which one was it out of interest?
It's probably your vlog, mate.
Maybe. Maybe it was when it was a good times and it was a Leeds one. Big up, Alex. Thanks for tuning in. Hope we could play a level up because Fulham and I joke. Yep, definitely we'll see that. Where Will Hughes is suspended for being a doofus. Yes, you are correct. Holding is playing tonight, apparently. That's a shock if I've ever seen one. One of the worst twilights of a career I've ever seen in the Prem. Yep, I agree. Remember the 5th of November. Yep, JC's definitely remembering that right now.
Yeah.
I know it was cool, but that first Wilson was such a busted arse goal. Not sure he can do it again. Yeah, I think he's tried to put a foot on it and it's just gone in. Do you know what I mean? Issa Diop pocketed Zaha under Vieira as well. Yeah, I always rated Diop, but I think that might have been because he always played well against us.
Yeah, I think he was touted with like a Man United move, but he always had a red card in him, though, didn't he?
Yeah. It was lucky, but everything he did yesterday was lucky. I'm assuming that's to Wilson. I saw people on Twitter.
The header was good.
Yeah, no, it was a very good header. But I saw people on Twitter after the game being like, I wish I had Harry Wilson in my team. And it's like he's barely played this season. That's his first 2 goals in like ages. Like, talk about reactionary. But anyway, big up, lads. Been looking forward to this. Yeah, me too, actually. And you know what? Actually, watching the games, I feel a bit more confident, I think. But then I remember we ain't got any players. So we'll see about that. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to talk about how Fulham attack and how we can defend against them. And I'm fairly sure it's this. Yes, smashed it. Right. Hang on a sec. Where's it gone? There we go. Thank you. So, how do they attack? So, first things first, obviously, we got to go through the stats a little bit. So, they're 9th on XG in the league, 11th away from home. It's worth noting. One thing to note as well is that when they're losing, their XG per 90 drops to 1.29. So, that might suggest that they do struggle when the other team doesn't necessarily need to score. Now, the only away game they've actually lost this season on XG was against Man United. And actually, their performances have been pretty good this season, I think. Admittedly, to be fair, I don't think they've played like hugely difficult teams. I know they played City and probably were really unfortunate not to beat them, to be honest.
And they played Villa as well, I believe. Yeah,
played those 2. I mean, I suppose Newcastle and Forest as well. But anyways, I'll get into that in a minute, actually. Third, so they actually take, right? I couldn't believe this. They actually take the 3rd most shots of any team in the league.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I think that's only behind City and Liverpool or something stupid like that.
Well,
But
I know in the highlights that I saw of the Brentford game that Reece Nelson had like 4 shots on his own and didn't even hit the target of any of them. So,
well, see, that's the second part. So in terms of the XG per shot, they're the joint second worst in the league. Do you know who's worst?
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace. But yeah.
'Cause it used to be Man United, but then they scored loads of goals their last game.
Oh no. This is as in this is like the average, how good each chance is
Oh,
on
okay,
average.
okay.
This is how good each chance is on average. Don't worry, we're still only second bottom of the other league.
Oh, yeah.
But that is a joint second worst in the league. So they don't necessarily create clear-cut chances every time, but they do. Well, I'll talk about it a bit more in a minute. They're about level for the amount of goals versus the XG they've created, so they are roughly finishing the chances they should. They actually rank 7th in the league for possession as well, which I was surprised about. 3rd most passes into the opposition box completed, that is. 1st for the most completed crosses into the box in the league. And they're 2nd for attempts. And when you actually average that out as a percentage, they're actually 3rd for completed crosses in the league. So they do complete them. They're 4th for the amount of switches they do in the league. So they are quite switchy. And you'll see why that is in a minute. Now, interesting. So I looked at their shot creating actions. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically the 2 things that happened before they took a shot. So that could be a dribble, a pass, a tackle, whatever. The 2 things that happen before the shot. They rank 1st for a set piece, but they haven't scored from a set piece this season, which I thought was a bit mad. So I don't really know how to say about that one. They also rank 1st for the amount of tackles that lead to shots as well. But that's an interesting one as well, as we'll see in a minute. So let's talk about how they build up from the back. So, right. So when they build up from the back, they pretty much do what every team does. Like they split the centre backs. These players go like this, and so on and so forth. Generally, though, what happens is, I'll just chuck our players over here for the moment. But actually, I don't think tactically they are that much different. I just think that the reason why they're a lot better this season, in my opinion, is just because they got better players and they've upgraded in the right places. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. But let's say it's like this. But generally what happens is that one of these players will come a bit wider and then Pereira will go here and then Berg will be kind of like the João Palhinha of last season. Now you're probably thinking, well, this is quite easily pressable. And to be fair, I do think it is. But the thing is, they have a very good out ball in that they can kick it long to Raul Jimenez, who we remember from his Wolves day was really good in the air. He is literally like the classic number 9 target man. And on my notes, I've got he holds the ball up well. He pops little passes. He moves into the middle of the pitch when he does do those passes, and so on and so forth. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, that's fine, but then what happens next? Well, after that, then someone like Smith Rowe or even if they swap, maybe like an Iwobi or something like that, they will try and pick up the ball in this pocket between the defensive line and the midfield line. So whilst, yes, they are pressable, they don't they can just go long. And I think teams are afraid of that because in all the games I watched, teams didn't really do that. They tended to stand off them a little bit. So they got this kind of space. But that still means that Sonderberg, etc., is still that lone pivot. Now, you can see me moving Mitchell there, but I think that's part of the problem that other teams seem to face. So generally, this is kind of how that line would kind of line up, I guess. This is how
sort of like a 4-1-4-1 kind of through the middle.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
The fullback drop back a little bit.
I'll say the fullbacks do push up a bit, so I would say it's more like a 2-3-4-1 or whatever, whatever you want to call it. But that's the issue, because obviously Raul Jimenez is a difficulty in and of itself. Now, admittedly, the games I watched, they were playing with 2 centre backs rather than 3, so this might be a bit different. But obviously, Raul Jimenez is a handful in and of itself. And I think that is why the striker is making a bit of a comeback in the last sort of few years, where we didn't have them for years because of Pep Guardiola. But obviously, with these players here, and especially like Traore as well, I think has a danger to force our wing backs backwards, which is obviously what we don't want that to happen. And especially with Traore as well. Traore is so good at running. I think that there used to be a joke that like Traore was like one of the best players in the world when he's not in the box or something like that. Because like his dribbling stats, I think it was at Wolves, his dribbling stats were just unbelievable until he got to the box, and then like he just wasn't able to do anything. But how do they progress the ball? Because obviously, if they're static in this position, you're probably thinking, well, why don't we just go man to man? Well, the difficulty when you go man to man against Fulham, let's say that they have let's push it back a little bit with it, guys. So they do really good rotations on the wing. So sometimes it'll be a case of like what I would say is like positionally, this is what you'll see, but the players aren't necessarily the same, if that makes sense. So let's say that Traore's over here and Traore's got the ball. He's got a real tendency to actually dribble inside. And then when that happens, any one of Pereira or Tete will kind of basically reposition themselves to how it was before. So now Traore's there, Tete or Pereira's over there. Now Pereira is very happy to move over to this wing, and Tete generally would be supporting. Same on the other side as well. Whilst Smith Rowe doesn't really tend to go as wide, which I think is maybe something we could look at. Obviously, you do then have Anthony Robinson, who is in very good form and is able to hold that width instead. And also the difficulty is that when they are, say, just a little bit further up the pitch, the difficulty for us is that because generally when you play a team, one wing back or fullback's generally more attacking than the other, and they generally, you generally know who that is. Now the problem with Fulham when you're playing them is that could be either because they're both comfortable attacking and defending. So when they are here, they like to have a back three kind of rest defense of this. If they're attacking, say, the right-hand side. No, sorry, if they're attacking, my apologies. So if they're attacking the left-hand side, so then Robinson's, basically like coming over, I guess, to come here. But then equally, if you're attacking on the right-hand side, then Tete would go up and support, and then Robinson would be the one coming over. But generally, you will see it's kind of like 3-1 rest defense. And it will be like, it's kind of like a diamond sort of thing. And that's what they'll try to do there. Another thing, and this is what I was saying about, I don't think their tactics are necessarily different, but they've got better players for what they want to do. So like Anderson, as we know, is happy to like run to here. And we know that, let's say that they're trying to overload the other side. So we're kind of like moved over to this side, let's say. We know that Anderson is happy to like ping long balls there. And another thing, and this is what I was saying about Raul Jimenez. Raul Jimenez will just drop off the line quickly. Anderson will do a nice direct pass into Jimenez, and he's a very good target man that he'll just receive the ball and pop it off. And just to answer Rich's question very quick, I would say I'll be surprised if Jimenez doesn't start, just because I think at the moment he's kind of suiting their play a bit better. I would say I think Munoz is a good striker, but I think they would only bring him on if Jimenez having a bit of a mare. He's on better form at the moment.
Or if they're chasing a goal, they'd take off probably Pereira and put him on.
Exactly. I think Muniz is firmly the number 2 at the moment. But obviously, as I said, if Jimenez has a mare, then maybe he'll change it. I don't know. But so what else do I have to say on that? So we have, okay, right. Now let's say, so I said that they have the 7th most possession. They do. And what they do this season a lot better than they did last season was that they control this third of the pitch really well now. A lot better than they did. And like, how do they do this? So like I said, so let's say that they are attacking this right-hand side. There are a few things that they do try to do to try and kind of get beyond us. So let's put these guys back to how it should be. So it should be something like this. Tete's over here. So they use, and this is why I put Adama Traore starting in my Fulham team, because I think we are susceptible to transitions, and he's obviously very, very quick. Now, what Fulham like to utilize him is that they know that teams are scared of him because, like I said, until he gets to the box, he's really, really good. So what they'll try to do is they'll try to isolate him so that he has a 1v1 versus the fullback, and he will always try to cut inside, which then gives an opportunity for either Tete or even Pereira to go on an overlap or something like that. Now, obviously the obvious counter is, well, why don't you play more players? Why don't you kind of like play more players there? Well, obviously that's fine. Like you can, you can double up on him, but then you're just drawing more players away. And what Fulham like to do quite a lot, and this leads to what I was saying about them having a lot, they switch the ball a lot in play, is that when they are in this position, they're happy to just pass this ball back, and then we know, and then like your defense is more over here because you're trying to defend the overload over here, etc. Well, when you have, say, an Iwobi or I don't know, maybe even a Robinson, I don't know, maybe Smith Rowe drops, Iwobi comes inside, and then Robinson's the wide one. We know Anderson can ping those passes, and this is what I was saying. Like they've just upgraded on the players, I think. And that is that. What else do I need to say? So they try to isolate Traore in a 1v1. Raul Jimenez. Anderson has a lot of license, lots of rotations. So Smith Rowe tends to, and this is why I think we didn't go for Smith Rowe, because Smith Rowe pretty much entirely plays in like this half space here, pretty much. He rarely drifts out wide. He might move into the centre to try and combine with Raul Jimenez, but this is the area that you'll find him in. And obviously he is a big danger man. Players seem to take turns in running. Oh yeah, so this was something that I thought was actually quite clever. So when, let's say that you are kind of in this low-ish block, right? Let's say. What players I noticed tended to do was they tended to sit on this like line of pressure, or basically like our midfield line. And what they'll try to do is that they'll try to run here. So then what that gives, it either means that it either pulls the midfielder out of position to try and gives more space, or it then creates an opportunity for Jimenez to receive the ball. Or say they don't move, what they'll try to do is it basically gives, another player in the middle of your lines. So it's kind of like you either follow them and then that creates an opportunity for Jimenez to do like a 1-2, or you stick to your guns and then they're just going to pass it to someone else. And they seem to take this in turns. So let's say that this does happen, and let's say, I don't know, maybe we come a bit narrower, so then that pass can't get through. Then Smith Rowe will then try to do that as well. I thought that was quite clever and quite an interesting thing that I saw. And yeah, the only other thing that is worth noting, and this links back to what I was saying about the shot creating actions, how they have the most defensive actions leading to shots. Now, interestingly, right, I don't know if you notice this, JC. I know this is crossing over into yours a little bit, but I don't think they really pressed that vigorously. Like like they kind of like faced the player to like kind of be like try and get past me, but it was never like they never intended to like win the ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they are the fourth worst team with pressures on the ball in the opposition half.
Oh really? Okay, I didn't know that.
So they really do set up like sort of similar to how we did under Allardyce, where mate, you can have the ball in your own half as much as you want, but the second the ball comes into their own half, they're like smack bang in the middle. I think they're 10th in the table with pressures on the ball in their half.
Okay, all right.
So like their press isn't very high up the pitch. They don't mind if you have the ball in your own half, but because they can control the ball so well in the opposition half, that's why their possession stats are so high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and actually, I thought because I was thinking about this, but I was thinking like, how can they not really press the ball but have so many shots from defensive actions? But I thought about it, so I thought it's actually their counter press, which I think is what does it. Because you think about it, right? They've got like, let's say that normally that ideally for them, let's say, right, this is kind of how a chance kind of like develops, I guess. Like they'll have 3, possibly 4 players like in this kind of tight area. You know, let's say that Anton does ping a pass and Lacroix wins the ball here. Like suddenly you're surrounded by Smith Rowe, who's more than happy to who's very energetic, and then you're also surrounded by like 2 or 3 other players. So I think that's why sometimes those turnovers do happen. But I think their counter press is pretty okay. It's pretty decent. Just because naturally, if they have so many players in this area, if they lose the ball here, you know, they're able to kind of get it back a bit quicker. So whilst they don't necessarily press much in that sense, when they do press, they do win it. If that does that kind of make sense?
They've got like a high success rate.
Yeah, exactly. So, how can we combat this?
I thought one other thing that I noticed when I was looking at like ways to defend against them, obviously, so sort of ways to defend against them is they have like quite a clever cutback routine. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Robinson runs all the way down to the byline. Let me see. Yeah, so Robinson will like run all the way down to the byline, and then the winger on the other wing, what they would do is they'll make a diagonal run straight towards the penalty spot. So what they do is they leave the back post empty, no one's there. But what they'll do is they'll flood the middle of the box with 3 players in a very small space. Mm-hmm. So when that ball gets whipped across, even if it takes a ricochet, 9 times out of 10, it will meet one of the Fulham players. Yeah. And because the winger on the other side is running straight into the penalty spot, basically running straight towards the ball, because of the backlines just swinging straight in and stopping close to the goal, that space in between the midfield and the centre backs, that's exactly the space they run a diagonal run into. And the amount of times they've done that, and you've seen Iwobi go from out wide straight into the penalty spot to then have a shot. Granted, the goal's so congested there that most shots don't actually go anywhere, because normally just hits the defender. But it only takes one time for that ball to find its way through, and it's a goal every single time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That was quite interesting that they just sacrificed the back post altogether unless the wing backers also overlapped on both sides, which I thought was quite interesting because every single team looks to abuse his back post. But it's probably going to be in Mitchell's muscle memory to look for the back post, but then there's going to be no one there, but his man's going to be on the penalty spot. It's just going to be very strange of how, as you said, they changed their formation, their style, very fluid.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, because they said they rank second for crosses and they complete as a percentage 3rd best in the league. So, you know, if they're able to, you know, like you said, like when they flood the players, when they flood the box with players, and then it is just, say, like a simple cross, that's probably why it's such a high percentage. of completion. Even though also it's not even like they don't do many crosses and they complete a lot. They also do the second most attempts in the league. I think only Spurs do more. So yeah. But yeah, how else do we defend against this? So going back to how they kind of start, right? Now I know I said that they'll just kick it long. I think we just need to, when we get the ball, say when the ball is one up here, right? Or let's say that we allow them just a little bit. So we don't press the goalkeeper, let's say, right? We kind of allow them to this area, perhaps. Maybe this is when we press. Obviously, we know Anderson's good on the ball, but then we also know that sometimes he gets stuck on the ball. So maybe we are a bit, brave with this, and perhaps we do kind of go man to man with this back line potentially, and then we do push, say like a Mateta here to try and box him in over here. Obviously, I know then they can go back to Leno. Perhaps, I don't know. We just need to be a bit quick when the opportunity arises, or potentially, let's say that we have won the ball over here, so they're defending, let's say, and we have won the ball over here. Rather than allowing them time to kind of recycle and build, say we do lose the ball, we got to just get them quick, so then they do kick it long. And then that will hopefully then disrupt their attack a bit more and just gives us a bit more respite. Because I do think if they do aimlessly kick it long, I know I said Jimenez is good up front, but, if Henderson's having to kick it over here, he's never winning that in a million years. And also, I think maybe it's a case that we do just have Lacroix man marking him, because Lacroix is excellent in the air. He's an aggressive defender. He can hopefully get in behind him. And even if he does miss a tackle, he's quick enough to recover. So potentially that could be something that we do. I hate saying it, but maybe also we got to think about zonally marking as well. Or like a hybrid zonal man marking, because the thing is, especially this right-hand side, let's say that Mitchell is man marking Traore and Traore does come inside, then Mitchell's going to end up over here. Gay's going to have to come over here and cover. And by that point, you're all over the place. So I think there has to be some sort of zonality to our marking, just to take into account their rotations. Mm-hmm. Now, when they are here, like I said, they like to recycle the ball and they're good at recycling the ball. Their main man for recycling is Anderson. Bassi isn't bad on the ball. He's okay. He's a bit quicker. So he will cover this ground a bit quicker than Anderson. But he isn't obviously as good as Anderson when it comes to long passing. So when let's say we do manage to successfully be in a low block, we're like this, blah, blah, blah. We need to ensure that we leave someone over here so that Anderson isn't getting time and space on that ball. So when he receives that ball, he's having to maybe turn a little bit. Even if he does pass it to Tete, that's fine. Then Mateta can just kind of close that space, force them forwards, and then we're just back to where we were again. So that's fine. And I think that's one way to do it. Obviously, we've got 5 players, so I know that we can kind of potentially man mark a little bit, I guess, because I guess theoretically you could have, you got a Iwobi, Smith Rowe, Traore, Pereira. So you could potentially go man to man. I don't think that's a good idea because, like I said, rotations. But I guess it is maybe a hybrid system where, if they switch, then they just switch the man. So that's fine. I think if we sit in a low block and then just kind of pressure them when they are recycling the ball, I think that would be the way to get them. Now, interestingly, before I leave on this, all of their wins this season. All right, so what do you notice about these teams, JC? All their only wins this season in the Premier League: Leicester, Newcastle, Forest, and Brentford. What? Maybe not Newcastle, but they didn't do it very well in that game. What links those teams?
Low blocks.
Yeah, they low block. They don't really tend to press high or in the middle. And Fulham have then won the game. So I think if
I would also say defensively, like physically strong as well. Teams.
Sorry.
I would say all those teams are physically strong as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like you know how you've got like Man City, where you'd say that they have got physically strong centre backs, but they're more like ball playing centre backs.
Yeah.
I feel like because of Jimenez and Traore, you can get life out of those kind of players because of physicality.
Yeah.
Whereas with Forest, like you're getting nothing from that Milenkovic at all because he's just a unit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and and that's how I summarize it. We just gotta, because they are dangerous. They've got good players. We just need to, I think, press at the right time so we can win the ball, and that's pretty much it. Because I think, if you sit in a low block like Brentford did yesterday, that's not gonna end well. Right, sorry, I know I droned on for ages, so.
That's fine. I've not got much to say really.
Okay, fair enough. All right, cool. Let me just get the thing.
Do you want to go through some comments and then we'll go in?
Yeah, all right. So, who have we got? Where are we get to? So I'm just trying to see. Our record of defence in Iwobi is poor. Has he scored against us? Probably.
He always plays well against us. Even when he was at Arsenal, he used to play well against us.
Boomslang is saying pressing is important. Yep, I totally agree. Like I said, if we press at the right moments, I think that'll be the key. Has Session played a minute yet for them? I don't think so.
I can double check that.
Chairman is saying that the under-21 game is starting. Well, that was 10 minutes ago. Can you tell me the identity of Crystal Palace on offense and defense? I'll tell you what, Derek, we'll save that one for the Q&A, which is next week, because we could do a whole stream on that in and of itself. But yeah, so
Sessegnon's played 0 minutes in the Premier League this year, but he's had 2 full 90 minutes in the Carabao Cup this year.
Okay. So, been a good signing. I'm a Yank sweating the vote today. Yeah, important day. Intrigued with Crystal Palace. For some reason, I can't put my finger on it. As I said, tune into the Q&A and we'll...
I tell you what it is, if you're an American. An eagle is a logo, and the colours are red, white, and blue.
Do you know a lot of Americans I've spoken to have said the Homesdale Fanatics was a big thing, like the atmosphere at Selhurst, which I was quite surprised about.
Okay.
Like, yeah, maybe not specifically the Fanatics, but like the atmosphere. Yeah, which I thought was quite nice. Looking at Brighton, Palace, Forest, or Bournemouth, don't want to root for a Big Six team. Well, Derek,
there's one team you have to knock off of there.
There's absolutely one team. They are overrated, and trust me, you will see it soon.
And if you ever take the plunge to go all the way to the UK, it's going to be hell on earth to get there. And when you do get there to watch a game, the stadium's going to be empty anyway. So
that is true. We got the best home atmosphere in the league, arguably. I think so. It's easiest to get to of those 4 teams. We are a work in progress. There's going to be a brand new stand soon. I think there's quite a lot of Palace fan clubs over in the US as well, so you can get involved with that. But we are looking to attack. Ollie Glass is a very attacking manager. He doesn't like to settle in for anything other than a win. So obviously we've got a bit of an injury crisis at the moment, so it might not necessarily be working at the moment. But when everyone's fit, theoretically, that's what happens. Yeah, don't say that. And yet the stadium expansion is going to be nice. I think it will take up to about 34k.
Yeah, he add 10,000 from one stand, so it's going to be huge.
Do we think Eze stays? Well, if he's playing like the way he is at the moment, yeah, I think so. To be honest,
his value goes down by the minute at the moment.
Yeah. But he says he can't. Derek says he can't stand the Eagles because of the NFL team.
Ooh.
But Ted Lasso is really me in. So yeah, I'm in.
Goat Lasso.
And have a look at the kit from last season. It is basically like a AFC Richmond kit, to be honest.
Good show, by the way. I enjoyed it.
It was a very good show. I liked it. I think there's a new season coming out soon. Don't want to get comfortable with players and they get transferred. Oh, don't worry. Some of our players have been here for years.
Don't fall in love with a lone player. That's the first thing I'll tell you.
Yeah, that is good advice. Don't fall in love. I think my first one was who was the first one. The first one I properly really liked was probably Loftus-Cheek, actually, because I feel like our loans before that weren't actually very good.
He was always injured though.
Yeah, but when he played, he was quality.
Yeah.
And before that, I'm trying to think.
For me, I would say is Batshuayi the first time.
Yeah, Batshuayi the first time was quality, actually.
And then Conor Gallagher's probably the biggest one, isn't he? Let's be real.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's always a Chuddy Chelsea one, isn't it?
Who are the loan players right now? Trevor Chalobah is.
Matt Turner.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Matt, we got an American goalkeeper and an American centre back who, yeah, it might be who should be back from injury soon.
No, Alex cooked. Check Tosun.
Wow.
I would never forgive that miss against Sheffield United. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about, but that was atrocious.
No, I can't.
Good.
Can't remember it.
I've remember it, but
scrubbed it from my mind.
Right.
Please don't say Mateta. No, he's not on loan. Does Nketiah feel like a waste of money? I mean, I don't think he's played badly when he's played. I think he just needs to settle a little bit, to be honest.
It's probably too soon to say as well. I got a bit ahead of myself in the last stream when I was saying he's the worst 30 million we've ever spent. I was definitely getting way too ahead of myself then. All right, let's get into this defense.
Right, ready?
Yes. From one low block to another, we come to Fulham. Basically, they play in a very a low block. So you know the formation they played 4-2-3-1. Basically, that 4 and then the 2. Everyone is a defender in that case. Everyone likes to defend very, very deep. And I'm going to pause myself if I say anything. How deep, you may ask? Very is what I reply. They all in the box.
Wow.
All of them in the box. If you see when you attack Fulham, they will defend like this. Everyone will be in the box. Everyone will be trying to throw their body in front of the ball. However, if you pick up a space here, which is prime shooting territory, they will not push out. And the reason they won't push out is because Silva is a very zonally defensive coach. Anything defensively, he does it zonally. So I'll get into this a little bit later about how we should attack them. But let's say Iwobi is a right back. Yeah, is the right back here. Just hypothetically, Iwobi is the right back. And then let's say Smith throws a centre back. Let's just say as an example. And then let's say we have 2 strikers occupying this one space with Iwobi. Because of how zonally marking he is and how strict he is with the zonal, if it's a defensive type of zonal defending, even though his boy's being like there's 2-on-1 here, Smith Rowe won't leave his position and come and help. He will stay where he is. So you could overload a certain player's space, and there will not be another player to help add bodies to that space. So you could, in theory, 3-on-1 in one little zone, and another player will not come anywhere near you to help him out. The reason behind that is there's 2 people marking him. There's going to be someone free. That's the idea behind it. But defensively, that doesn't always work, because if we have a formation like we do, where we could, in theory, throw out how many we could, in theory, we could throw 6 people forwards and still have enough to defend. That means that we've already got a man advantage, even if we haven't actually overlapped a fullback yet. That's how our attack could look. And because they will not leave their areas, it makes it very interesting with what you could do, because of how they zonally mark. And because of zonal marking, so we'll go back to here again. Within the box, you're not going to get a touch in the box. I'll say that now. Unless you are very lucky or we've worked the ball incredibly, we're not getting the ball in the box. Their zones are very tight. They're very close together, and they want to build a wall in front of the goal, basically. So if you ever have a long shot, it's going to hit their wall. It's going to hit a man, and it's just going to ricochet or whatever. But I guess banking so much on a ricochet or a block, if you get a dodgy ricochet, it could send the goalkeeper flying and it could go in. I think that actually was how Forest scored against them. I think Hudson-Odoi had a shot, and then Anderson threw himself at him, Bassi threw himself at him, and it just came off Bassi and went into the net, the complete other way to where the keeper was going. So that's one thing. They defend. They do not push out of the box because of their zonal marking. Everything that's outside the box needs to be picked up, depending on where they are, by these 4 players. If the ball's on this side, Nelson will be a one to initiate a press. If it's in the middle, you've got Smith Rowe and Jimenez to initiate the press here, and only Iwobi on this side. So he's very much regimented to keeping everyone in their position at all times. Defending, if it's like a normal situation, so let's just put players roughly where they would be. Let's say here, what they do is, because of how zonally they mark, they're not going to obviously go over and help. So let me get a ball. This just seems to be a corner catch. I just forget the ball all the time. Let's say here, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'd like this to happen, but I don't think it will. Let's say that Eddie Nketiah is 1-on-1 with Tete. Marco Silva backed all of his defenders 1-on-1 to defend. But let's just say, hypothetically, Nketiah skips past Tete. Anderson will not engage until Nketiah gets into his zone, which is very interesting, because what Nketiah could do, which I don't think he would, but what he could do is, if his run was originally going this way, he'd go into Anderson's zone. But if he changes his run, he could run Anderson down the line, and Anderson wouldn't break here at all to go and challenge him. But the second he stops to try and cut in, then, as we know very well, Anderson likes to jump in. The second that you cut back, he likes to jump in, like slide tackle, jump in. And this is probably the best scenario for us when attacking, so sort of leading into the attack now, where if we're committing people forwards, the second Anderson jumps in there, if he can slot the ball in, you've then opened the gap here for Mateta to take a touch and shoot. Another thing for how aggressive their centre-backs are is, let's say, regarding the centre-back, if you're going 1-on-1 with the centre-back, and then let's say Nketiah beats Anderson, so he goes for an Anderson, because Bassi would be the last man, he will make a reckless challenge and come flying across trying to stop the man and just wipe them out. They do this because in the eyes of the game, if you get the ball, it's not a foul. So even if you clean someone out, as long as you get the ball, it's fine. And that's what they try and abuse. But what you did see with Watkins, which is why Anderson actually got sent off, is because Watkins was very smart. He waited for Anderson to come and make that reckless challenge and then sort of lent into it a little bit more. And then sort of nudged the ball away, lent into Anderson more, and then obviously went down and Anderson got his red card. So you can manipulate these kind of situations into our favour. Zonal marking in there for set pieces, let's say. So I don't know if you guys remember, but we've actually scored from a corner, like a proper corner. And because they zonally mark, how we take our corners, we line up at the edge and we sprint in. If we can catch the ball while they're trying to mark their zones, and again, if we overload a certain person's zone, which is weaker in the header for a corner, we could overload that place. And potentially a way of us actually going forward and attacking could actually be a set piece in this game. Because that's the same thing for a corner, it's the same thing for a free kick. And I've got on here lastly that they don't press very much, but I think Dan's already covered that a little bit. How to attack against them. I don't even need the tactics board here. Press high, press with intensity, choose your press triggers wisely is what one thing I would say. Main thing is we know how good Anderson is at that switch. He is press resistant. He is not a press trigger. If the ball's with him, we've got to mark their wingers. That's the first thing we have to do. Mark their wingers and make sure that either Lacroix, Gay, or Chalobah is touch tight with Jimenez. So if the ball gets fired into him, we're there and we can be aggressive and we can nick the ball there. So he is not the press trigger. The press trigger here is Robinson. And you think, why not Bassey? Robinson is so left-footed, it's crazy. If you block off the ability for him to go down the outside and for him to use his right foot, he's going to use his right foot to pass inside to Sander Berg. And Sander Berg is the key to where I think we actually get this game. Because Sander Berg is in the midfield. If we can compress and compact and get... If he picks up the ball and we press then we've got strikers in front of him, midfielders behind it. If we can press like that, nick the ball, then instantly you've got Anderson, who's not the fastest centre-back in the world, and Bassey, who's not the best at decision-making, and both of them are very aggressive centre-backs. You can, with runners, if you've got Sarr going down one side and they're not catching Sarr, if you've got Nketiah being confident and running, not like what he did against Wolves, if you've got him confidently running, he can run away from Anderson. I believe that. It's really the same thing with Mateta as well. But if we can compress, if we can nab the ball from him in the transition, they are very vulnerable. Having runners going down each side and someone straight through the middle, I think we can actually get at this game. Leno's a very, very good goalkeeper. We have to say that as well. Good shot stopper. Not the best of his feet, but a very good shot stopper. But we can make chances by literally running at them and grabbing them in transition. Anything else? If Nketiah's long confidence, if we have another situation like that again, if we just keep having runners, so if he's one-on-one with a keeper, you've always got a pass to the side to make it an easy goal. Same thing for Sarr as well. Couldn't really hit the target. Let's just try and keep runners in behind. So they've always got a buddy up there, I guess, so that if they're not 100% confident, they can always lay off the ball for an easy open goal. That's what I would say. That's how we attack them. We attack them with pressing, which is what we've been doing very well in the last two games, and we have to finish our chances because there's going to be goals in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's quality. I couldn't believe like the way you describing it. I was thinking, God, they're so bad at defending. Do you know where they are? How much in their XG they've conceded this season?
No,
they're fifth.
Because they let you have shots outside the box.
I mean, fifth best.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's because the Premier League now, because of Baldiola, everyone wants to walk the ball into the net.
Yeah, maybe.
And we're probably the only team in the whole league right now that wants to smash off long shots like it's no one's business.
Yeah.
Is that an Eze thing? Or is that a Palace thing? That's another conversation for another day.
That's part of the Q&A.
Why so many long shots?
Nice.
Because we can't make any better chances.
Yeah. But I think, to be fair, I think like both what we're saying kind of like is quite cohesive together. Do you know what I mean? Like I think we both kind of identify very similar things in how to like what the key is to this game. And like we're both saying, like, make sure we press high, make sure we are giving that intensity. Because I think, yeah, if we do get them at the source, like where like Anderson and Bassey and Robertson are, then that nullifies their attack, obviously. Then also, if we turn it over, that's a great transition for us. And obviously, that's how we scored against Spurs.
Yeah. And also, there's a massive caveat that if we're pressing and they can play through our press, it's going to be 5-on-5 or even 6-on-5. So they're going to have the man advantage, and they're going to be very dangerous if they do catch us in transition when trying to catch them in transition. And as you said, they're very good at the counter press, so this very well will happen. Which is why I think there's going to be goals in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right. Just some last comments before we go on to the score predictions. So, yeah, Mitch knows. We'll do the predictions TCD now. No, yeah, we said that earlier. No, Eze, Wharton, or Hughes, right? Yeah.
Or França, or Riyadh.
Or França, or Riyadh,
or Holding.
Or Holding. It's better really to start saying the players that are available, really, to be honest.
It's probably less.
Yeah, it probably is. And our midfield is looking weak. Yeah, I think so. Really, Alex? You think it's going to be a 0-0? I don't know. I think Fulham... The thing is, I think Fulham can score goals. I think we could score goals. I can't say it's being a 0-0. Out of interest, actually, what is our record against them before we predict? So, oh my God. So the last 3 games, right, have all been draws. In fact, the last time Fulham actually beat... No, sorry. The last time we beat Fulham was...
The only time I can remember is first game of the season when Riedewald scored.
Yes.
Is that the last time we actually beat them?
Yeah. And that was when I think Schlupp scored as well, didn't he? Or was that
Are you
2?
sure?
No. Sorry. No, that's wrong. No. Sorry.
When Edward scored, no? We beat them then at their place.
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one.
That was like 2 years ago.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Sorry. Riedewald and Zaha, 24th of October 2020. So whenever that was.
Yeah. What?
No wonder I don't remember that. That was COVID.
Am I thinking 2-2 when I think Schlupp and Edward scored for us?
Joel Ward and Eddie scored in the 2-2.
Okay.
Mitro got 2.
Yes.
Scored a penalty. Last time we beat them, Anderson was on the team. Was he? Let's have a look.
He's a much better player now after being with us. I'll just say that.
Definitely. He didn't play that day. They had Diop and Tim Ream in the centre backs. But I do think when... No. Oh, I don't know. But anyway. Right. JC, score prediction. Who goes first? Or am I going first?
The host normally goes first.
Right. I'm gonna go 1-1. Because I just think we always draw against each other. Like, I know we're not playing. I know, and obviously they're coming off a good result. I just think it's going to be another draw. I feel like history just dictates it.
I would go... I'm thinking a draw as well, but I think it'll be a slightly higher scoring draw. I think that obviously history does like to repeat itself. I would also say that what we were saying before was 4 points in these next 3 games, I'll be very happy. We've already got our 4 points. So I feel like now we're sort of playing with a little bit less pressure than we were beforehand as well, which would maybe allow us to make like a better performance of ourselves. And also the fact that last game we didn't play with Eze, we didn't play with we didn't play with Wharton, we didn't play with Lermo, we didn't really play with Decore until right at the end, and even then he looked unfit. And we still made that many chances against Wolves. Granted, Wolves' defense is very bad, but we still managed to do some good build-up play, create some good chances. So I'm gonna say I think it'll be 2-2. I do think it'll be a draw again, but I think it'll be a higher scoring draw because of those factors.
Yeah, fair enough. Alex is saying, and this is true, I just checked it, we've scored 0 goals at home in the last 3 games against them.
Oh, really?
So a 2-2 would be a turnout for the books. But anyways, without further ado, thank you all for watching. We appreciate it massively. You guys tuning in every week to hear us ramble on.
Hear you ramble on.
Hear me ramble on. But anyways, we've been Eagle Eye Football, Dan and JC, TACT-EAGLE. Thank you again. And one thing to say.
Eagles.
Eagles.